YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my NFL Week 15 score predictions, predicting scores to every single NFL game every single week. Junior has his score predictions, and those are already up for the week on the Patreon, patreon.com/thegoathouse. There's a link in the description. You also get updated playoff predictions every week, updated NFL mock drafts every single week, and we're constantly adding more to the Patreon and much more on there. Possibly get bonus videos from us. So patreon.com/thegoathouse. Link in the description for more info. And we're trying to get to that 40K subscriber goal by the end of the NFL season. Please help us get there by subscribing. Full NFL and college football content. We even got already up bowl game predictions and college football playoff predictions. So check that out. Subscribe. Click that like button. Give us a follow on Twitter. Goathouse NFL. Link in the description. Always talking football on there. But Week 15 score predictions, if you watched our straight-up picks with the guys, a lot of games we were in agreement on, more than usual. But there is a few big games this week that we were split on that have a lot of playoff implication, big games here. So we'll break them down. The Thursday night game is not one of those games, really. But the Ravens playing for that 1 seed still. You know, they want that home field advantage. They want to have a bye week in week 1, obviously. I have them taking care of business against the Jets 34-16. They're minus 15.5 points there. It's a lot of points, but it's tricky because Thursday night's always weird. It usually side with the home team. Ravens are home, but it's usually weird. You know, Lamar Jackson has that quad injury that he got last week against the Bills, so he will be playing, but he's been limited in practice, and I expect that. It's weird. When quarterbacks are hurt, you kind of just expect a little less from them. Lamar, I expect more throwing. Why is that? Because less running. A running quarterback that can throw he's gonna throw a little more because the quad injury is gonna limit the running. He'll throw more. So I think a guy like Hollywood Brown or Willie Snead or maybe even Miles Boykin, could have a better game. You know, a little more of getting action to when the tight ends. You know, they usually have the tight ends involved. I have a feeling the receivers have a pretty good game. You know, I think Hollywood Brown gets on the board. So I expect more passing from Lamar Jackson. So we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be no problem. But they'll still run the ball the same amount of times. They'll just use their actual running backs between Ingram, Gus Edwards, and Justice Hill. It's a really good trio. So those guys might get more action. So that's the good thing there. Jets might be without. I heard Jamal Adams is doubtful, so that's not good. That's really overall their best player and does so much for that defense. So that's really not good. I expect a pretty simple win here for the Ravens, 34-16. But I've seen some strange things on Thursday, so we'll see what happens with this one. Patriots and Bengals, another one where everyone's picking the same team. We're picking the Patriots here. I got them winning 27-10. It's an odd one because we don't know how many points it's hard to predict how many points the Patriots are going to score. We keep thinking they're going to score more this week. They're going to score more this week. Even though I had them losing to the Chiefs last week, I thought they were going to score more points. And it's really not much the defense is doing. Yeah, there was some good blitz calls for the Chiefs. They made some good plays. It's kind of more on the Patriots, though. The offensive line, Brady, the receivers, would love for them to get N'Keal Harry involved more. He's kind of that guy where you just throw the ball up to. Doesn't matter if he's open or not. It's kind of the guy you just get him the ball any way you can. And I've been saying that. Now Josh McDaniels is coming out saying that. So maybe they'll get N'Keal Harry involved a little more. That would be good. They should be able to put some points up on the board. I got them scoring 27. I just don't see the Bengals defense doing a whole lot. Patriots are minus 9.5. Kind of like that, sitting under 10, Sitting under 10 points there is pretty good because their defense will take care of business. Their defense could even score. Their special teams could even score. We've seen it several times this year. So I like the Patriots here. I have in my semifinals and one of my fantasy teams, I have a decision to make here. I've been starting Tom Brady all year long. A little bit of a letdown recently. And my decision has to be between Tom Brady and this next guy, is Jameis Winston. Who could turn the ball over a lot and get a lot of negative points within there, but he also can get a lot of points, especially playing against this Lions defense. I got the Buccaneers scoring 31 points. The Bucs are getting pretty hot. They're still turning the ball over. Jameis does have the hand injury, so a little scared about that, just a little bit. I think he'll be okay. Came in, looked good against the Colts when he came back into the game. The decision here for me and my fantasy team, will they kind of put the Lions out of reach early where they'll just run the ball? That's kind of the question. Kind of like the Vikings did last week. The game was over pretty quick. The Vikings got really conservative. Will the Bucs do the same thing? That's kind of the question. But I think they'll score it up. I got 31 points on the board, and they're -3. The Lions offense versus the Bucs defense. The Bucs defense, you can move the ball. Pretty much anybody can move the ball on them. They're pretty darn good stopping the run. That's really not the Lions' strength anyways. They're going to throw the ball. The secondary is getting better. Guys are getting better in coverage. But at the end of the day, you can move the ball. But will the Lions, with their injured offense, third-string quarterback, be able to do that? That's kind of the question. Will they be able to keep up? Got a 31-20 victory for the Bucs. They're -3. It seems like every time I start to get on the Bucs train again, though, they blow it. So we'll see if that's one of these games. It should not be. They're a much better team the way the Lions sit with their injuries. So I'm going with the Bucs here, 31-20, -3. The Bears and the Packers, really good game. This is a toss-up game because the Bears are hot, and because the Packers offense is struggling. 180 passing yards per game since that Chargers game. That's a little concerning. But I'm not really concerned for them against every team. I'm kind of just concerned for them against good defenses. The Bears happen to have a good defense. Guys, the injuries are still starting to build up. Guys are hurt right now. But they may get Akeem Hicks back, so that's something we'll have to monitor. I think he's one of the better defensive linemen in the game. So that could help going against a guy like Aaron Jones. So the Packers, what kind of offense can they get together? I'm still a believer in the Packers offense. It's hard to doubt the Packers offense. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. We're going to hit a time here where he's going to really start going back to the Devontae Adams that we know and love. So it's coming. Will it be this game? Bears defense looking good. They're pretty hot. I'm going to take the Packers in this one because they're home. Because a big reason to me is because the Packers defense, they're playmakers. They'll give up some yards, maybe not the same in terms of shutting teams down as early in the year, but they're playmakers. The Bears really haven't seen recently, haven't seen the playmaking defense. So I think the Packers can get their hand on the ball once or twice in this game, and that could be the difference. I would like to see more offense from them. We've been seeing more offense from the Bears. The play calling's been great. The offensive line's been great, especially compared to the beginning of the year. So you could say the Bears will get more offense together, and they very well could. It's hard for me to fully believe in them. They still won the game last week based on kind of the quick, short game and Trubisky running. He still will need to make the big-time throws downfield. Can he? And he has the last couple weeks. It's not a lot of them, but can he keep doing it? That's the question, especially against a pretty good Packers team. So the Packers are -4. I have them winning by 3. That's a tight one. It's an interesting one to pick. Will it be on the lower scoring side? Will it be? Realistically, it can be like a 13-16 final. It could be a 31-28 final. It really could. So it's kind of splitting the difference here, but kind of going off what's been going on. The Packers not scoring as much against good defenses, and I still have the identity on the Bears offense that they're not one of the better offenses, even though they look like it the last couple of weeks. So we're going to learn a lot in this game. We're going to learn a lot. Big game for both teams here. Got the Packers winning by 3. Next game is the Texans-Titans. This is a huge game. Huge game. I got the Titans winning 30-27. This one can go either way, but really, don't get me wrong here. The Texans can definitely win this game. They're a good team, but I didn't really have to think about this one too much. I see Titans, and right now it's very, very hard for me to pick against the Titans because I think after the Ravens are the hottest team in football. Their offense is ridiculous. They went from one of the worst in football, maybe the worst at one point, to since Tannehill came in, they're statistically the best. It's ridiculous what's going on there. Derrick Henry's playing great. The offensive line's getting better. The play calling's getting better. Ryan Tannehill's playing great. A.J. Brown's playing out of his mind. So it's looking – everything's going right for this Titans team right now. Even defense, they'll give up some yards here and there because the guys are hurt. I do like the defense when it's fully healthy. But they make plays. They make the plays at the right time, whether it's even defense or special teams. It's really, really hard for me to pick against this Titans team. They play the Saints next week. Depending on what happens in this game, I don't know if I'll be able to pick against the Titans again. It's ridiculous. But that's just how I'm sitting here right now. But Texans very well could win this game. It seems like with them, they have that slip-up game that always pops up. And then right after that, they kind of explode back to that really good Texans team, that really good offense that we know. We know them for more like that, more of the really good offensive team. And then once in a while, they'll get that Broncos game that comes up. So maybe that can happen here. If the game after the slip up, they explode here. So it's very possible. Defense has been playing pretty good for the Texans, except for that last game. I just not 100% a believer in it yet. Want to see more. This is a true test here. I got the Titans. They're rolling 30-27. This is a crucial game. It seems like how everything's laid out in the tiebreaker, it seems like this one is a little bigger for the Titans to win, especially because they play each other again, and you would like to win. Obviously, you want to win every game, but you pretty much got to win your home game. So I think it's crucial for both teams. I think it's a little more important for the Titans here. So I had them winning by 3, and the line happens to be 3. It's not really one I would touch here. Broncos and Chiefs, a little closer than the line shows, but still it's a toss-up one. In terms of, can you put money on that line, 9.5? Because the Chiefs are getting better and better each week when they're getting healthier. It's mainly the defense that's getting better. Mahomes does have that hand injury, so we'll see how he plays with that. I mean, I definitely expect him to play. They have a running game issue. We'll see if they get Damian Williams back, when they can get him back. But the defense is playing a lot better. The way the defense is called is better. The front seven's better. Guys like Frank Clark are getting better. Chris Jones is getting in his groove. The rotation's getting better. Safeties are playing fine. So it's a team that's getting better, but also on the other side, the Broncos are getting a lot better. They're much better than their record shows. That's pretty obvious. Drew Lock's playing very well. And both sides of the ball, they're looking good. So I think maybe closer than you think. I like the Chiefs getting it done here. Maybe a Harrison Butker, a couple clutch field goals. We've seen it a couple times this year. And they get it done here. If it was in Denver, that would actually be an interesting game to pick. It's weird because you think Broncos. Most people don't really think too much, even if they're winning. But they're a pretty good team. It's a pretty good team there. They just had a tough schedule and some tough breaks at the end of a lot of games. So this actually should be an interesting one. Dolphins and Giants. I went with the Dolphins. I was the only one to pick the Dolphins in our straight up picks video. More of a feeling, but at the same time, looking at no matter who, we still don't know who starts for the Giants at quarterback, but it doesn't really change my mind. I think whoever starts, I think we're going to see quite a bit of turnovers. I think the Dolphins are going to win the turnover battle. Eli played pretty good on Monday nights. A lot of hype in that one. It's Monday nights. It's he's playing a little ticked off, and now I think coming back down to earth again if he plays. If Daniel Jones plays, well, he does have the turnover situation, and I think he'd be playing maybe not 100%. That's why I think Eli would play. So either way, I think the Dolphins get their hands on the ball, and I think they can do enough offensively because I think you could throw downfield on the Giants. Again, we'll see if Devontae Parker's in concussion protocol, I believe, so we'll see if because he came out of that Jets game. I think if he didn't come out of that Jets game, I think the Dolphins win. So that's also something I'm monitoring there. I'm not really monitoring the Giants quarterback situation. I'm kind of really checking out the Devontae Parker, We'll see if he plays or not. Still have to look into that. But I like the Dolphins. I think they make that extra play on offense, and I think more turnovers for the Giants. I think they win the turnover battle. What makes this if it was in Miami, I wouldn't even hesitate. Miami's a totally different team, home and away, making it a little interesting. But they just played in New York at the same stadium against the Jets last week, so they're familiar. We'll see how the weather will be. We'll see if Parker plays. We'll see who the quarterback is with the Giants. The Dolphins are underdogs by 3.5. I kind of like that. That's over 3 there, so they can lose by a field goal and you still get it. I get them winning 24-20. Next game is the Eagles and the Redskins. Another interesting one. Very tough to pick the score of this game. Really, what it is, 2 things. Why I'm going with the Eagles. 2 things. They're the better team still. They have not been playing like a good team, but I believe they're the better team still. And number 2, kind of riding, and I think they'll ride that momentum and that energy they gained from that comeback Monday Night Football against the Giants. That they lost that game. It's pretty much, well, not really, but it almost felt like you kissed the playoffs goodbye, kissed the NFC East title goodbye. So they come back, win that game in overtime. That could change a season. It's not a crazy one, but it could change, I guess, the next couple games. So I think they'll ride that. The problem is they have not been playing good football. The Giants, especially home against Monday night, they should be able to win that game easy. It was raining in that game. But the main thing is they're building on more injuries. Alshon Jeffrey's out for the season. Lane Johnson could definitely miss this game at least. And they are on top of their injuries already. The good news is they got Boston Scott going. Looks like they figured out that guy can help them win some games. He looked pretty. He looked like their best. Ertz got a whole bunch of catches, some touchdowns. Looked like Boston Scott really helped them win that game. It was ridiculous, but that was the case in my opinion. I think the defense steps up in this game. Haskins, I think they're going to insist on him, even though I believe he's hurt. Well, he looks hurt when he's playing. If Keenum plays this game, then things could get interesting. I really would consider switching my pick, possibly. On paper, I do like the Redskins defense. I talked about I'm picking the Eagles because I think they're the better team, but on paper, I really, really like the Redskins defense. They definitely are better, but sometimes they don't play to it. There's games here and there, even games they lost, some games they won, the defense played to where I think they can play to, but then there's some games where they just don't. I know they have some injuries now as well, so that's interesting. But I got the Eagles taking care of business, mainly defensively. Defensively, it's a little bit of a mess. They let Eli Manning throw the ball downfield. They had some mix-ups, at the end of the first half. That's on coaching, in my opinion. I think they get it together defensively. Should be an interesting game, though. A tough one, really tough one to predict the score. Wentz has got to hit his throws. He's missing some easy throws. Looks like he's better off hitting the harder throws. It's weird. But got the Eagles in that one. Seahawks and the Panthers, another one. It's another one that's really tough to predict the Seahawks scoreline here. I am a little concerned about the Seahawks. Very talented team, could definitely make a run in the playoffs. That's no doubt. But I'm a little concerned, and it seems like some Seahawks fans are on my side here when I say they're getting very predictable, kind of like they did last year. I was talking about this even during the Rams-Seahawks game on Twitter, and I was talking about a couple of videos this week. The Seahawks got predictable last year. That's kind of what cost them that playoff game against the Cowboys, and they're doing it again this year. It's the same exact game plan every single week. So can these teams catch on? Well, the Rams caught on. They definitely outplayed them, but it could be just in LA Sunday nights. It doesn't really mean a whole bunch, but could a team like the Panthers figure it out? Are the Seahawks that predictable? I just think they're the much, much better team. Even though, I think they're getting predictable, I still got them getting 31 points. They could even score on defense here. Tough one to predict. The Seahawks could, I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks scored 21 points or 20 points in this game. That really wouldn't surprise me. But this is kind of where they should be at. This is where they should be at. I want more mixed-in shots from Russell Wilson downfield early in the game, not just wait until it's interesting, early in the game. I don't want them relying on second half big time plays, which they did get a lot this year because they got playmakers. I don't need them relying on that, They're run heavy. I understand you have the players to do it, but mix it up a little bit. So I think they take care of business in this one. Panthers are a little messy over there. 31-21. They're -6. I do like that it's under a touchdown, but they're scaring me a little bit with that. So we'll see. Next game is the Jags and the Raiders, two teams that are ice cold. The Jags, little effort from their team, and the defense gives very little effort right now. Changes need to be made. Quarterback change wasn't going to do much, obviously. And, I only got them scoring 17 points here. I just have zero faith in the Jags, right? I mean, they could win this game because the Raiders are cold, but I just don't see it. The Raiders can play better offense than them, and the Jags should be able to play better defense than the Raiders, but they won't. That's just how it is right now. The Raiders are favored by 6.5 points here, and I think they're going to win by 10 points. Could be 7, but you're still going to be okay here. It's just the Jags. I really don't plan on picking them again. I don't know their schedule at the top of my head, but after I picked them to beat the Bucs and that shit show over there, I'm really doubting them. It just seems like very little effort from this team in general. No motivation whatsoever. But the Raiders might be starting to lose some of that too. But they were kind of in that Titans game for a little bit, an impressive Titans team. And, 21-21, and they kind of blew it, let it slip away. So we'll see. Derek Carr's got to play better. First half of the season looked like a top 10 quarterback first half of the season. Second half of the season, not so much at all. Next game's the Browns and the Cardinals. I got a 27-23 victory for the Browns. The Oklahoma Sooner quarterbacks go at it. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, both in which I think are playing injured right now. I think it's pretty obvious, actually, because Kyler Murray was on the injury report 2 weeks ago, and in 2 terrible games since, and we know Baker hurt his hand in that Steelers game. So I think both of them not playing as good because I think they're both injured. Maybe not as many points as we originally expected scored in the game because of that, but they have their playmakers, but Browns have more of the playmakers. I think the running back duo is the difference in this game. They get the job done. -2.5. It's sitting under 3 there. Pretty appealing, sitting under 3. I know it is in Arizona. The Browns, it's cutting it close. I got them winning by 4, but it's sitting a half point under 3. It looks pretty good right there. Next game is the Vikings and the Chargers. I got the Vikings winning 28-20. Another tough one to predict, like which Vikings offense is going to show up. Offense looked really, really good this year. Kirk Cousins looked good, and they also get Adam Thielen back, which adding him to that offense it's kind of scary, what they can do. There is some games like the Seattle game where they lost, and they scored points in that game. There was obvious moments where like they need Thielen. It's only Diggs. He's got 2 guys. It's only Diggs and Rudy. Some other guys can't catch or can't get open. Some other guys stepped up against the Lions, but it was the Lions. So now Thielen's back. That helps Cousins out. It helps Diggs out, which helps the running game out, really, because you can fear both. So I like, even though the Chargers defense has been great, second half of the season's been great, one of the better defenses in football, really, the second half of the season. So 28 points is a pretty good amount against a good defense. So I got them. Yeah, I got them scoring 28 because Adam Thielen's back. We'll see how involved he is. Chargers scored 20. It's tough to predict how many the Chargers will score too. They really got going against the Jags, but it's the Jags. Little effort there. Vikings defense has been on the weaker side recently, maybe except for last week. But Phillip Rivers, it's on him. It's usually not the defense that forces him to make the mistakes. It's usually just him, his head, his arm, maybe it's a little weaker than it has been in the past. It's really not anything the defense does that forces him to throw turnovers, kind of like other quarterbacks. It's most quarterbacks, it's something the defense is doing to kind of get to mess them up. Doesn't feel like that with Phillip Rivers. There's a few quarterbacks like Phillip Rivers like that applies to. So I think that kind of helps the Vikings a bit, but at the same time, if Rivers is on his game, the Chargers have a very good chance to win this one. Should be interesting. They need to use Austin Eckler as much as they can because he's their best weapon. I got the Vikings taking care of business here, 28-20. Should actually be a good one, though, in L.A. Next game is the Rams and the Cowboys, 30-23. So pretty high scoring here. The number one problem with the Cowboys right now, they have multiple problems, and most people are going to blame the coaching, which I do think there needs to be a coaching change. I do think that, so don't get me wrong here. But the number one problem is tackling on defense. It is brutal. Looks like guys are starting to give up. There's not much of a pass rush. Almost feels like Robert Quinn's getting more of a push than DeMarcus Lawrence is at this point, or even Michael Bennett at times, really. So that's a problem. Jalen Smith's not playing to his best abilities right now. That's a problem. But tackling is the number one issue. And the Rams, who are starting to heat up, and that's one of those teams where tackling has to be on because they'll get their quick offense, they'll get their underneath throws to Cooper Kupp, who's got a lot of yak this year, and Robert Woods is really racking that up too. And then Todd Gurley, who they're getting involved, not more, but I think in the right way more. I think they were kind of one week they'd be insisting on him too much and relying on him too much, and then one week they would kind of just go away from him too much, but mainly insisting on him too much. But now I think they're splitting it up pretty well. Looks like the offensive line's playing a little better. So I think the tackling issue is a problem here, but it's a little different. You're not playing at, that sloppy Soldier Field this week, the Cowboys, but they're playing at home, so that definitely helps. Hard to go against the Rams right now. They look like a different team. I know it's only been 2 games, but it really looks like a different team. Kind of can feel it. The defense playing a lot better too. The Cowboys have to take shots downfield. Doesn't really have to be Amari Cooper. Obviously, you want more targets to Amari Cooper, but take shots downfield. That's how you win this game. That's how you have a chance in this game. And wrap up and tackle. Don't get juked out of your shorts, which is very possible. The Rams are one of those teams that will get you that way. So I got the Rams. It's hard to pick against the Rams right now. It's hard to pick for the Cowboys right now, but the Cowboys definitely have a shot. Get the Rams winning by a touchdown here. I guess it depends on which Goff shows up too. Can't turn the ball over too much there. So we'll see. Next game is the Falcons and the Niners. The Niners are beat up. This could be a trap game for them, but they're home. They're just better. They've been beat up kind of all year. Not from the start, but they've always had that next guy up mentality, and they played pretty well like that too. It's impressive. They got the depth. So I think they'll be okay. It's a little scary in games like this, but more of the games are like against the Rams next week. And yeah, Seattle in Week 17, which could be the one flexed to Sunday night. We'll see what happens then. But yeah, it's a little scary, but they're the better team. They're well coached. I think they'll get it done. The Falcons are one of those sneaky teams, though. We've seen them sneak up on the Saints, and then even the next time they played the Saints, it got interesting, but they fell short. So, and they played a really good game against the Panthers next week. So this could be one of those trap games. It's always bad. It's been saying it early in the year, since the early stage of the year here. It's about how the Falcons start. They can beat pretty much anybody if they start off pretty well. There's been a lot of games they lost where they had to come out of a hole. They dug themselves a hole. Defense gave up a lot, but I think Matt Ryan most of his mistakes, whether it's an interception or just a missed throw that he should hit or taking a sack, has come early in the game. So that can't happen. It could happen against this Niners pass rush. We'll see. But if they start off good, they can definitely win this game. 31-20, Niners win. So it's an 11-point lead, and it happened to be an 11-point spread. As well. Next game is the Bills and the Steelers. Flex to the Sunday night game. A lot of playoff implications here. If the Steelers, this is huge if the Steelers win this game. It's crucial for both teams. Definitely crucial for both teams. But I think more for the Steelers, because if they win this game, I'm saying this team's definitely making the playoffs. They lose this game, I'm still a little hesitant about them because their offense, going forward, how they're gonna have to win the rest of these games here. The Bills, it's crucial for them because they actually can win their division, but they also want to stay in the playoffs. They don't want that 6th seed either if they don't win their division. So it's crucial for both teams. A lot of playoff implications within this game here. I got the Bills winning. Sunday night, the home team always has the advantage. It's tough to go against the home team. I look at two top-tier defenses here. Two top-tier defenses, and it's interesting because they're different, though. They're different defenses because, where are the strength of the Steelers? I think it's their front seven. I think it's more their pass rush, even though their secondary is playing good. The Bills, I think it's that back end. You look at the linebackers and you look at the secondary. They don't have great pressure off the edge, edge pressure, but the Bills do. They do get some good interior pressure, and they have, some sneaky blitzes, the ways they use Lorenzo Alexander sometimes. So this is going to be a good game. So the difference to me is, that you can match up pretty well defensively. The difference to me is offense. I have a little more trust in the Bills' offense, even though it slipped up against the Ravens last week, but late they got it going, so that's a good sign. It's still hard to trust fully Duck Hodges here, but they're getting some guys back. Juju's supposed to come back. James Conner's supposed to come back. I just like the Bills' offense a little more. I think they're the better team. But the defense that makes that extra play could win the game, and the difference could be the Steelers getting, that extra sack or that extra QB pressure, or the difference could be the Bills, whether it's any one of their secondary, any one of their defensive backs, it's Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White getting that extra, interception to help their offense more. So that's the key. Really looking forward to this one. I got the Bills. I'm actually surprised that they're the underdogs by 2. Probably because Steelers are home here. 20-16 defensive game. I got the Bills winning by 4 when they're underdogs by 2. Should be a good one. And then the Monday night game, I think, a touchdown. About a win by a touchdown for the Saints, 31-24. Something inside of me just tells me like this is totally a Colts move to all of a sudden win this game. They choked the Bucs game. They kind of choked the Texans, the Titans one. I wouldn't really call it a choke, but they kind of let those ones slip away. They definitely choked the Buccaneers game, and everyone's kind of given up on them. Playoffs are not going to happen most likely, and this would be the game they would win. That's total Colts move, and that's a total Saints move. This is kind of one of the games they'll kind of blow it on at the same time. They have Marcus Davenport, crucial injuries, unfortunate injuries. Marcus Davenport, Sheldon Rankin, so that's tough. Defense hasn't been playing as good, but I still got the Saints winning. It's not really, there's no really logic behind that. Just kind of it's not really a gut feeling that's telling me the Colts are going to win. It's just something I can see. So sometimes I do follow my gut. But it's not really telling me that the Colts will win. They definitely can. It's just something I can see. The Saints are the better team. They're rolling on offense. The Colts defense is starting to go south here, so I think the Saints will get enough points, but I think the Colts can move the ball as well. Think about a touchdown, maybe even 31-27 possibly. I think the Colts receivers get a solid game. I think last week we saw Marcus Johnson step up. I think this could be a Pascal game. So we'll see. I guess depending on T.Y. Hilton, who's still week to week, so I don't expect him to play. But Brissett's got to play better. I think that another reason why the Colts could win this game is because now the season's looking like it's over. It's just kind of just go. Maybe it's not over, but just go out there. Explosive plays. Let's go for more of those explosive plays that we have not been going for. Let's just cut it all loose. That's kind of the feeling that it should be. So we'll see. Their defense, hasn't been playing too good. It's not really like that playmaking defense. It's mainly just Darius Leonard or Malik Hooker. It's got to be one of those guys to get their hands on the ball. And the Saints are not one of those teams that really turn it over a whole bunch. So it could be an interesting game. It'll be a tough one. The Colts are +9. I got them losing by 7. I don't really, to me, I don't really feel like they're going to lose by more than 7, but it's kind of tough to say. So we'll see. Got the Saints winning by 7 there Monday night. But that's my score predictions. Again, Junior score predictions for this week are already up on Patreon. Patreon.com/thegoathouse. There's a link in the description. More content there. His predictions will be up every single week and more being added to that. Please subscribe. College football and NFL content constantly, even in the offseason, free agency and NFL draft content every day there. So please subscribe. Click that like button. Thank you for watching this video. That's going to do it. Goodbye.